Three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marquee Show podcast, where I am very excited to have our next guest. He is from, did you say Roxbury? Roxbury, New Jersey, everyone. He is the now famous Mr. Chris DAmico. And we were so proud and so excited to have him at the Marquee Show. Sean Big Daddy McKee put him on my radar, and I'm so glad that he did, because if you weren't at Marquee or at DJ Expo for the last 2 years, sit back, relax, because his story and what he believes in and his message is absolutely worth listening to. So even if you have to pause this podcast, get yourself a cup of coffee, get ready to strap in for about the next 18 or so minutes, and that's that. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Very excited to have you. So let's cut right to it, man. I mean, we know you're a DJ, and you've been a successful DJ musician for decades now, back when you used to have hair just like me. But kind of tell us the story that people have come to know you about, and what has and what's your passion now?
7 years ago, June 24th, 2015, I lost my son, Christopher, in a boating accident off of Lake Pacon, which is a lake right next to my town, right here in Roxbury. And we were out boating, and he went off the front of a pontoon boat. And if you don't know how a pontoon boat works, they have the two pontoons on the bottom, and if you fall off the front, it sucks you back and you hit the propeller and you're killed instantly. He was 10. What we've done to keep his legacy alive and to help us with the grieving process is we've created a movement entitled Kindness for Christopher. You see I'm wearing one of the shirts, Be One of a Kind. It was a movement in order, like I said, to keep his legacy going, also to kind of promote who he was, which was a very kind person. He was one of a kind. And he did it naturally. He exuded kindness, showed it to everybody he met. He never really held back from anybody. He was just genuine. And we've kept that spirit alive with Kindness for Christopher by doing kind things and having people do one random act of kindness on the 24th of every month. We should be kind every day, but since Christopher passed away on June 24th, we wanted the 24th of the month, instead of being a somber thing, to be the reminder to be kinder in his name. So one random act of kindness. A lot of places and a lot of people want to do charities and money. This has nothing to do with money. This has to do with just being kind to your fellow human being. And that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years, to amazing success and amazing stories and things that we've seen.
So give us an example of one of your son's acts of kindness.
For his 8th birthday, instead of presents, he wanted dog and cat food to be donated to the local shelters. We got 2 truckloads. And what I usually teach in my seminars is about the ripple effect, how your words and your actions go well beyond the initial word or action that you said. Because we donated those dogs and cat foods, dogs and cats are alive. Because dogs and cats are alive, people can adopt them. Because people can adopt them, they're happier now. And it started because some 8-year-old boy, random 8-year-old boy, wanted dog and cat food for their birthday instead of presents.
Right. That's amazing.
One of the amazing things that he's done in his short time.
Sure. So give us an example of how his legacy's lived on, other acts of kindness that have been done in his name or such.
One of the most amazing things that he's done, and the Kindness for Christopher movement has done, is somebody placed a rock that said, "Leave footprints of love and kindness in rocks." Hashtag Kindness for Christopher on the back, in front of our local fire department. Next day, one was found in front of the police department. Quick check. One was found in the adjacent town. 2 towns over, Excuse me, I was getting over a cold.
Sure.
Till one was found in Alabama, Louisiana, California, seashells painted on the shores of Florida, Hungary. We had a soldier holding one in Kuwait, Italy, Spain, until one was finally found on the Great Wall of China. So Chris's message of kindness has gone global, just starting from one little rock in front of a fire department here in our local little town.
Right.
And what I try to explain, in my seminar is it doesn't take something big to start something big.
Right.
A simple splash. It's a simple word. It's a simple action that can change people's lives, people's perspectives. And I've been tuned into this a lot more since the passing of my son. And I think people need to just, be turned on first and be aware of how every action, because we are DJs, because of what we do, because of how we do what we do. We're in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people a year, depending upon the success of your company. We have a platform. We hold a microphone. Nights that you want to phone it in, there's somebody in the back of that room that's feeling every note and everything that you're doing. That, everything has a value to it. And if you want to be the change that you want to see in the world, it starts with you. And you have to be the splash that causes the ripples to make the change in the world.
Sure. Even in the most minor sense, even as entertainers, while we might be tired of Love Shack or Celebration or Cha-Cha Slide, when you see someone's aunt out there going absolutely ballistic or dancing like a banshee to something that we might be completely tired of, they might be going to one wedding every 5 years at this stage of their life. So even just doing what we do has just such an impact where I know myself, and I know every good DJ loves that feeling when someone has sincerely come up to you at the end of the night and goes, I was having the worst week. This was exactly what I needed, you know, and it's such a great feeling. So
I always tell my clients, I say, Journey gets pissed because I stopped believing years ago, but I'm still singing it at weddings because it goes over very, very big. But you're right, though. What we hear weekend in and weekend out, some of these people have only heard, once in the last 5 months.
Right.
There was a time after Chris's passing, I was probably down in my darkest period, and I went and did a wedding. And 6 months after that wedding, where I just felt like I couldn't even be there, I couldn't even do my job, I just went out there, light went on, and that's one of the hardest things,
Sure.
When we go to these seminars and stuff, everybody talks about equipment, everybody talks about marketing and all the other parts of the business, but nobody really gets involved in the mental part of it. Right. To be able to bring it when you're not ready to bring it, whether it's the passing of a loved one, a sudden passing of a loved one, or you're arguing with your spouse, so the relationship is falling apart, your business might be falling apart. We just went through with COVID, just things might not be going 100%, but you still, we're not the people who put the carrots on the plates in the kitchen. Right. We're out in front and the light's on us and they're counting on us to bring the party to them. And there was a night in July of 2015 where I just wasn't there anymore, but I still did my job. And 6 months later, I get an email from a potential client saying, I saw you at a wedding and I want you to do my daughter's wedding. And the words she used were, you were mesmerizing. Wow. And I'm like, mesmerizing? What wedding was it? Because what I want to do is I want to match the same team you saw and probably give you the same experience that you had if you had such a great time. And she mentioned the exact date that I'm talking about. And I'm like, and that's when I learned that even in my darkest moment, even in your darkest moments, you're still bringing these people into the light. Right. So continue to be the light that you want the world to be. I learned these lessons the hard way. So I want to take my experiences. And when I speak to people who come to Marquee or DJX,
or anywhere. It's not just the DJ really, thing. Yeah. To just be aware, be aware that you are making a difference in people's lives. We have a tight community. How many times have I seen people pick up
our own brethren at places. This one's hurt, this one's this, and we all seem to rally around each other.
Sure.
Help each other out, professionally as well as personally. But when we're put in front of audiences like this and we're asked to shine in such unbelievable circumstances sometimes.
Even within our own industry right now, the tragedy of New Jersey's own Chris Atwood,
yes,
having a heart attack and a stroke and not having the proper insurance. I mean, last I looked, there were tens of thousands of dollars raised through a simple GoFundMe, of which a lot of disc jockeys at No Curse from DJ Expo and stuff all stepped up to help his family. I have a similar situation with someone who owns a bridal salon out of Seattle, and they didn't do a GoFundMe. They did it's like a meal plan thing, so that while she's in ICU, you can feed her family and all these other things. So I mean, these platforms are great, but it all starts with the cause and just your son is a shining example of just being a good person, I made a huge post because he's gone 86 months, a big, as you can tell behind me, 86 is really important. And this is my jersey that was retired in honor of him in West Orange behind me. But I made a post on Facebook about this journey that I've been through since he's been gone has turned me into this direction of speaking that I don't think I would have ever. I don't know. I'll never say never, but who knows if I would have ever been in this journey of speaking and helping. Sure.
When I just got done doing DJX last month, the posts, the phone calls, the private messages that I'm still getting about how I've changed people's lives and their perspectives since that speech. Well, you know what? I can thank Christopher for that too.
Sure.
And that's really, that's what my post was about, which was like, I sat here a year after Christopher was gone, and I was on my front porch and I'm looking around, and there's a dog walking around my lawn that I would have never have had because he was a rescue after Christopher passed away. There's a tree planted on my lawn that was planted in Christopher's honor that would have never been. I'm just sitting there and I'm taking the inventory in, and the biggest inventory is my son, Dean. We were done. We weren't going to have any more kids. Now I have a 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old son named Dean, and I can't imagine my life without him.
Right.
But I have one person to thank for all of that, and that's Christopher. So even though stuff happens, and good, bad, or indifferent, you are where you're supposed to be. You're put on the path you're supposed to be put on. Christopher was here. He had his mission. He did his mission. A lot of people, a lot of animals, a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of adults have all been changed because of a 10-year-old little boy who passed away. Right. And Chris's last act of kindness was donating 8 of his organs to random people that are still alive today, and being with their families, even though Christopher couldn't be with his. That's my son, and I'm proud of him, but that's my story. Everybody has a story. Everybody's got a pain. Everybody's got hurt. And it's what you do with it that makes or breaks the world. I always talk about, one of my takeaways is, are you a superhero or a supervillain? Superheroes and supervillains have one thing in common. That's pain. You look back at any origin story for either one of them, they both share pain. But a superhero says, the world hurt me and I'm going to make sure it never hurts anybody else again. And the villain goes, the world hurt me and I'm going to hurt it as much as it hurt me. So you have to make the decision on a daily basis. Do you want to be the villain or do you want to be the hero?
Sure.
And my wife chose, my family chose to be the hero every day. Get up and try to do good, be good,
I believe that every day you make a decision, a conscious decision, whether you're going to let it be a good day or a bad day.
Yeah.
And we all know people that they wake up and they are just pissed off with the world, and it hasn't even started yet. I mean, I love saying good morning to everybody. I love holding doors for people. And these are little tiny nothing things compared to like what your son did and such. But if we lived in a world where everybody held the door again for everyone and everyone said good morning, I can't help but think that every day would start out that much better.
It's. I used to sit back and I used to say, is it me? Because I'm getting older now. I mean, this world is changing and get off my lawn. I used to think it was maybe that. A lot of things have been designed and a lot of things have happened that have just kept driving wedges between people, making people side-eye people and trust people less or want to help people less. I see kindness and love for one another in our very own DJ community.
Sure.
I see it in my musician community. I see it in my own community because they've embraced the Kindness for Christopher movement, and they're still including it today. I mean, there's still rocks being found in Sweden and in Greece, and somebody just put rocks in Virginia, and Habitat for Humanity, when they got done building their homes, they lined all of the stone in the front with Kindness for Christopher rock. I mean, it's just 7 years after this kid is gone, and his legacy still carries on. So if you don't think that, I can't make a difference, well, some 10-year-old boy who's been gone 7 years is still making little subtle reminders. Hey, let's be kind to one another. Mm-hmm. Take care of one another. That's the important message, We know so many people in our industry that can use a hand, not just with their own personal life, but with business that are stuck, that you might know something more than I do. I learned a lot from you guys. I hope you've learned some from me. But that's really what this world is about. It's just about sharing and giving and taking and taking care of one another.
I agree.
You got to get back to that, and first step is you got to be aware. You got to be aware that everything that comes out of your mouth, you're accountable for. Your actions have an effect that goes way beyond the initial action. You might not know. It might come back around. I remember Gary V telling a story about how he sold about 100 cases of wine, and he found out the person that he was selling it to was a huge Denver Broncos fan, Jay Cutler, when he was the quarterback at the time. So he got him a signed Jay Cutler jersey, and he sent it out to him, and he didn't hear a word from the guy. He's like, what happened? I thought he really liked Jay Cutler. I thought he would love the gift. Didn't hear a word. 6 months later, somebody called up, completely different, said, yeah, I want to order, 100 bottles of this. And he goes, just to let you know, I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. So even though the guy never called him back, what he did had an effect. He told somebody else. And then later on down the line, because we got to get back to conversations, put these goddamn things down and start talking to one another again. Conversations create relationships. Relationships create business. And that's what we got to get back to, the long lost art of conversation.
Sure.
I mean, these podcasts, they help.
Oh, and just actually being present. I mean, I had dinner with you in Marquee and in Atlantic City, and especially Marquee. I mean, we laughed when we weren't eating. We were laughing the entire time. I mean, it was just a really, really, really great evening, where it was just. And I was exhausted from a long day, but I got to tell you, I still look so fondly back on that, and I'll look back on that for years and years to come, and so, yeah, I think that, again, you're right. Start using the phone for what it was designed for, which is to talk to people and not just to share misery on social media, and, and be back in touch. So, So if people want to reach out to you and learn more about your who you are, or talk to you about possibly speaking at a conference, or learn more about Christopher, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, to find out more about the Kindness for Christopher movement, we are only a Facebook page. We don't have a website. It is Kindness for Christopher D. Find us on Facebook. We are almost 18,000 members strong and growing. And all it is about doing one random act of kindness for one another. No money involved. It could be simple as holding the door open for somebody or telling them they look good that day. Just find out what we've been doing and see what's gone on over the last 7 years. Kindness for Christopher D. If you want to reach out to me personally, you can email me at DAmico, DAmicoent @gmail. And I answer everybody's email. And I'm easily accessible. And if you want to talk to me about having DAmico Speaks, come to your place and talk to people and deliver my seminar, I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Yeah, we're excited. You'll be back at the 2023 Marquee Show.
And I'm happy to be invited. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So thanks for being my guest today. Thank everybody for listening. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook at Marquee Show. It's marqueeshow.com for all details about our show. And make sure you join the Marquee Show community group page on Facebook. We will talk to you all real soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.